Hello everyone, welcome to Ajiro Tech. Ajiro Tech. In this video, we're going to be looking at the CIE, right? Information and Communication Technology ICT with the course code 0417, February March 2024, which is the paper that was officially released as of the time of this recording, variant 31. You just have only one variant to this particular paper, which is just one, right? And we're looking at the spreadsheet part of this. Okay, so let's get the work. Please note that the duration of the paper is 2 hours 15 minutes. Okay, very important, which is 2 hours 15 minutes. And then the instructions are very important. Instructions are very important. So please go to the instruction before you proceed. And then the total mark for the paper is 70, okay, for the whole paper. But in this video, we're looking at spreadsheet. You will supply with the following source files, right? So we're just going to dive to spreadsheet. Task 5, spreadsheet. You're going to create a spreadsheet to calculate the cost for Serengeti balloon safaris of collecting guests from their lodge or camp and taking them to the place where the balloon will launch. The company uses a numbers of fixed launch sites. Okay, please take note. Fixed launch sites. The size will change each day, okay, depending on the wind direction. All currency must be in Tanzania shilling with 2 decimal places and a symbol of TVS. Okay, so take note of that. Okay, open and examine the file. M24 distance. So let's open and examine the file. So I have it, I just downloaded the file, right? So I'm going to right click on it, extract all, click on extract. I'm going to right click on this, extract all, click on extract. Okay, so I'm going to open it distance. Okay, I'm going to click it, select the columns and row, double click. All right, the second one, this file will be used in step 12 and 13. Do not make any changes to this. Noted. Open and examine the file M24 cal. M24 cal. So let's open M24 cal. So if open M24 cal, I'm going to click here, right here, in between A and B, double click. So I have my columns and row, so everything is properly seen. Okay. All right. Save the file M24cal.csv as a spreadsheet with the file name. So I'm going to save it with the file name. Click on file, click on save as, browse here, and then I'm going to put in calculate underscore. Okay, followed by your center number. So my center number is AN017 underscore 2024. Okay, save as type is a spreadsheet, which is an Excel workbook. So save it as this. Now, take note, okay, when we talk about spreadsheet, notice I said open and examine the file. Now, this is a CSV, right? The comma separated value. Now, opening this, right, let's look at spreadsheet. And for you to look at spreadsheet, you have to look at the spreadsheet model, okay? So when we talk about the spreadsheet model, what are we talking about? Okay, so please take note. It is used, when we talk about the spreadsheet model, it is used to explore different possible answers, right? This is often used in financial, mathematical, or even scientific. Now, the recommended software for spreadsheet, you will see this in chapter 13 layout, is what? The Microsoft Excel, which is what I have open here. The Microsoft Excel, okay, is the recommended software for spreadsheet. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so we've done this, so this is good. Format the spreadsheet so that it looks like this. One thing you need to observe, you need to note where you format the spreadsheet is, you have to look at the following. You have to look at the font. Is it a serif font? Is it sans serif? Or is it Calibri? It is very important that you take note of this. And looking at this font, okay, one of the giveaways is for serif, there are little ticks at the end of each letters, each characters. Okay, we don't have little ticks. And for sans serif, we have straight edges at the end of each character. So this is straight, this is straight, this is straight, this is straight. So this looks like a sans serif, right? It looks like a sans serif. So it's important for you to take note of that. Make sure cell A1 to C1 are merged. A1 to C1, I will call that a range, right? A1 to C1, and we use the colon here represent the range. A1 to C1, they are merged, right? So I'm going to merge this and have an 18 point black, so 18, and it's going to be black. Okay, what else? On a light blue background, light blue. Okay, so I'm gonna go with this light blue background. Okay, I think that's the only tip that is being given to us in this paper on format. Okay, the rest we have to do ourselves. Okay, so here we have this to be centered. So I'm going to make this center. Okay, that's fine. And of course, sans serif, right? So take note of it. And looking at everything here, everything also looks like sans serif. Okay, it's important that you have an eye for it. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this. Just going to highlight everything, really. Just make it sans serif. Okay, good. Okay, so it's important to always know this. Very important. Yes, that's it. Okay, so what do we have here? We have all these right align. So I'm going to highlight all this, make it right align. Okay, what else? I have this centered align. So I'm going to highlight this and make it center align. I have this right align. So this is already right align for me, left align rather. So I'm going to adjust this here, adjust this. Okay, just adjust this, right? Okay, so we have this. Anything else? Now, how do you know when to add borders and when not to add borders? Very important. How do you know when to add borders and when not to add borders? Now, when you have the lines to be thick, then you need to add borders. When you have them to be dotted as grid lines, then you don't need to. So you need to know when to add borders and when not to add borders. Okay, so here we're adding borders to it. So I'm going to click here and then right here, all borders, select here, all borders, select here, all borders, select here, all borders, select here, all borders. So now we have this. Okay, so if we go ahead and print this just to check, that's what we have here. Okay, that's what we have here. Okay, so very important. Okay, so let's proceed. So this is done. They didn't say anything about bold. Okay, so we'll leave it like that. Enter your name, comma, space, center number, comma, space. This step 11, candidate number, right align in the header. So I'm going to insert, go to text, header and footer, right align here. So I'm going to enter my name. We're talking about your name. You're talking about they're asking you to type in your full name as registered in IGCSE, right? Comma space AN 017, comma space 2024. Okay, so I have this right align in the header. Okay, so that's all. View normal. So this is done. Step 12, place a formula in cell B6. Where is cell B6? So we call this a cell address. Okay, we'll talk about cell reference. We're talking about that cell, right? And we have a name box that will reference the cell you're currently in. We call this a name box. Okay, so take note of that. Okay, so a cell is an intersection between column and range. Okay, so please, very important. Formulas are written statements by users to perform a calculation, right? That's formulas. So place the formulas in cell B6. Okay, so I have right here B6. I have my name box to prove it. Okay, to look up the name of the lodge or camp using the camp code. Take note of that camp code and the external file for the array. Okay, so we can use, let's look at the work. Let's look at it, right? Distance. So this is what we call a VLOOKUP because we're going from top to bottom. Okay, so we can use the VLOOKUP here, which is type of lookup, or we can also use what? The XLOOKUP to accomplish this. So I'm going to use the XLOOKUP to do this. So right here, I'm going to click, and for you to be able to use the XLOOKUP, you have to be either on the Microsoft Office 365 or you're using Excel 2016 and above. Anything less than that version, you don't have you'll not be able to have the feature. So I have equals to VLOOKUP. Let's use XLOOKUP, right? And then we have our lookup value. What's the lookup value? Lookup value is the camp code. Camp code. So I have this, comma. Then lookup array talks about the list of items in which the camp code is found. Okay, so I'm going to come here to distance, right here, shift control arrow down, comma. What are we returning? What's the returning array? We want to display the camp name. So shift control arrow down and then hit on close parenthesis, hit on enter. So now we have the camp name. So we can double click on this. So we have what? The camp name. Very important. Now this for XLOOKUP. If we're to use the VLOOKUP, so we have VLOOKUP. Okay. The lookup value is going to be the camp code, comma. The table array is going to be everything in the table. So right here, shift control arrow right, then arrow down. Okay. And then, comma, what are we returning? The second column, right? So that's 2. And it's going to be what? An exact match. So we have this. It's going to be what? An exact match. So please take note of this. It's going to be what? An exact match. Okay. So now the next thing we want to do is, so this is done. Step 13. Place a formula in cell B7. Cell B7. So we have B7 here. Okay, so what is it doing? To look up the distance in miles. Distance in miles, okay. From the lodge or camp. From the lodge or camp using the launch site. Using the launch site. So we have to look up the distance in miles from the lodge or camp using what? The launch site. And the external file m24 distance.cxv for the array. Now let's look at this. Is this a VLOOKUP? Now, how do we know? Watch this. A VLOOKUP goes from here to here, right? This is for VLOOKUP. But for HLOOKUP, it goes from here to here. Okay, so this is a HLOOKUP. So looking at this, they said, place a formula to look up the distance in miles from the lodge or campsite. Okay, so we're looking at the distance in miles from the lodge, and each launch site has a code, right? So using the launch site, this is the launch site. So they are going like this. You can change to launch site C, launch site C, so to D, to E, whatever. So when it's going like this, this becomes what? A H lookup, a horizontal, because it's moving row-wise, not column-wise, row-wise. So this becomes what? A H lookup, right? So let's do this. So this becomes what? A H lookup. So let's see. Equals to H lookup. Okay, so we're using the launch site as a lookup value, comma. Table array. Now for table array, we're going to select everything in the table, including the code. Right here, shift control arrow right and arrow down. Okay, comma. Row index number. We cannot select anyone here because the thing is, it can change. And if it changes to E to F, that becomes a problem. So what do we do? So what we do here is, now look at this. Let's look at this. Now it has a camp code. So it simply means that for the camp code 12, And the launch site, okay, let's look at 17, right? Which is my Aga camp. For the camp code 17 here, and for E, we want to display this. This is what we want to display. So it simply means that we have to use this. So the column index is going to be what? This. Right? It's going to be this right here, which is the camp code. Okay. But the problem now is, if we leave it like this, what will happen? I will tell you something. You see something, right? Okay, comma, exact match. So we have 37. Now, if you look at this, 37 here, 37 is right here. Notice that we selected from here, because if we don't select this, it's not going to see this. It's not going to see it. So we need to select from here, and then it's looking for this. But this is what we want to find. So it simply means that we have to increment by what? By 2. Because it has to skip 1, 2, and then look for this. Make sense? So here, we can now have right here, increment of what? 2. And we hit on enter, now we have it. So if we look at this right here, we can be able to get this. It's so important that you look at it. It's so important that you look at it. If you try the VLOOKUP, it doesn't work, then you know it's not going to work, because VLOOKUP goes from this. But HLOOKUP is going from horizontally. VLOOKUP is going vertically. So you need to know the difference. Okay? So that's very, very important. Okay, so this is done. Step 14. Place a formula in cell B8. So let's look at it. A formula in B8. So we have B8 right here, right? So this is B8, and I have my name box to prove it. Now, to calculate the time in minutes taken for the journey, okay, from the lodge or camp to the launch site, where the vehicle travels at 20 miles per hour. So let's see how we can do this. Okay. So now let's take note, right? We have to calculate the time in minutes right here. Okay. So now we have the formula here. So we have time equals to distance. Now the distance here is the one right here in B7. So we have B7 times 60 all over. To get the speed is where the, look at, they said for the journey from the lodge or camp to the launch site, where the vehicle travels at 20 miles per hour, right? 20 miles per hour, that becomes the speed. So we have it right here. Okay, so now that we've done this, let's see how we can put this to practice. So we have equals to the distance times 60, and then we can put this right here. Okay, divided, okay, by what? The speed, which is travel at 20 miles per hour, and then we can put 20 here, and then we can hit on what? Enter. So this is what we have in minutes. Okay, hope that makes sense. So I have this done. Step 15. Place a formula in cell B10 to calculate the cost for this journey. Okay, to calculate the cost for this journey. So let's do that. B10. So I have B10 right here. Okay. So this is the formula here. Cost is equals to what? Driving time. So what's the driving time? 1 up to next hour. So what's driving time? Okay, so that's B8. So we have equals to what? B8 rounded to the nearest hour. Now for us to have driving time right to the nearest hour, let's do this, right? Let's play something, right? 60 seconds make 1 minute, right? 60 minutes make 1 hour, right? So it simply means that if we're going to have this round up to the nearest hour, this is going to be divided by 60, right? Because we need to round this up to what? The nearest what? Hour. But take note, rounded, this is a function. But we need to take the driving time rounded up to what? To what? The nearest hour. Now, when we have this to the hour, so instead of us having 0.48 hours, right? If we round this up to the next hour, that can be just 0 hours, right? I'm just putting it up. If you have 1.2 hours, that could just be 1 hour, right? So here we have, now that we have this, so this is going to be, I can clean this. This is going to be round, right? So we can have this. This is the operation. Numbers of digits here to the nearest is what? 0. Okay? To the nearest is going to be what? 0. Okay? Then we have this times 220, 2200, that's 2,200 shillings, plus distance in miles. What's the distance in miles? That distance for the campsite, which is B7. So it's going to be B7 times 800. Hope that makes sense. Because now we've rounded this up to what? The nearest what? Hour. And we're using the word rounded function here to what? To bring this to our attention, to ensure that this is going to be rounded up to the nearest hour with the function. Hope that makes sense. And then we have this. So let's see how we can put this to work. So here, it's always important, whenever you're performing your calculation, to always perform it on your question paper, right, before you translate, so that it all makes sense. Don't compound it. Always try to break it down bit by bit. Okay? So even if you don't get everything, you're still going to get some marks for it. All right? So we have equals to round. Now I can do this. Round. Okay? And then let's look at the question. Driving time. This right here divided by 60. Okay? All right, so we have this. Numbers of digits is what? 0. See that? And then I can close this. I can close this. Then what do we have? Times 2200 plus what? Distance in miles. The miles here. Okay, times 800 shillings. So now we can hit on enter. So now we have this. Okay, hope that makes sense. So this is done. Step 16. Apply appropriate formatting to cell B10. Apply appropriate formatting to cell B10. So let's go back and let's look at what we are talking about. To B10, so they said what? All currency value must be in Tanzania shilling with 2 decimal places and a symbol of this. Now, I want you to understand something, right? The currency code for Tanzania is TZX. Why the currency symbol is TXH? Okay, so if you don't see this, please know that this one is also fine. Okay, so please, it's very important. Okay, yes, there are 2 ways you can do it. Okay, so you can come here, go to home, numbers, and then currency, and you can look for THX, or let me see, THX. We will have TZX. So there's even TZX is fine. But just in case, if you change it to Tanzania, you're going to have what? You're going to have something like TSH. So whichever one is fine. But TZS is what we have, so we're going to work with it. ZX. So I have it here, TZX. Okay, and I'm going to change it to what? 2 decimal places. So I have it right here. So okay, so this is an example being given, right? So this is what we have. Okay, very important. Okay, so let's scroll down. Save your spreadsheet. This is my best question ever. Saving the spreadsheet. I love questions like this. All right. So I have this. Okay. So print your spreadsheet showing the formulas. Okay. Now let's print our spreadsheet showing the formulas. So I'm going to go to formulas and I'm going to go to show formulas. Okay. Please ensure your formulas are showing and not cut off. Please. You can't afford it, right? It simply means if I print it like this, I'm going to lose marks, right? So please. So I'm going to double click on it, or you can just select all and then double click so that everything is properly shown, whichever one. Okay. So you have this. Now I'm going to print. Okay. So now I'm going to print. Click on file, click on print. What else? The printout is in landscape orientation. Landscape, I'll change it to landscape. Please ensure your paper size is A4. Very important. So ensure it is A4. Okay. What else? Rows and column headings are displayed. So I'm going to go to page setup, sheets, rows and column headings. Okay. All right. The content of all cells are fully visible. So they are fully visible. All right. So let's do that. Let's print it. So I'm going to print this. So this is going to be print out formula. Please always print to PDF. So I'm going to click on to hide the formulas, select all, double click. So everything is showing. I can just extend this a bit, extend this a bit. Okay. Print the spreadsheet showing the formula. Make sure the printout fits on a single page. So click on file, click on print on a single page. That's fine. Now I'm going to leave the rows and column headings because if you look at this, they won't give us a row and column heading. So I'm pretty much going to print it like this, right? Right? They gave me a sample I have to follow. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so let's check. That's fine. Okay, showing the values. Make sure the printout fits on a single page. Content of all cells are fully visible. Let's look at portraits. Okay, landscape is fine, so I'm just going to work with landscape. Okay, and I'm going to print the work here. So print out values. Okay, so I'm going to save. I'm going to close. I can don't save this. And please let's check the work. Very important. It's so important that you check your formulas, check your values. It's important that you always check your work. Okay, so this is the values. So this is fine. Okay, at the end of the day, that's what we want. Okay, this is the formulas for it. We also use the X lookup here, and then we also made use of what? The V lookup. Okay, to just explain. Okay, just to explain everything. So this is what we want. So yes, so this is the end of this video. Please do well to share this video with your friends, with your classmates. Okay, it's very important. And please give a like to this video. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel to have more amazing videos on IGCSE. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.